Hello and welcome to another episode of D-Dubs Plays. If you enjoyed the video today, then hit the like button, and if you'd like to see Sandy Shores continue to develop, then it's a great idea to subscribe as well. We've also got a Discord server so you can join the community, or you can just drop down into the comments and say hi there. I'm on vacation next week, so I'm recording 2 videos this week. This one is going to be a recap of the city so far. We're going to look at some of my favourite spots in the city and talk about some of the future plans as well. And then next week I'll be releasing a console tips and tricks video. There'll be lots of ideas in there that you can use to improve your cities, whether you're on console or PC. And of course there's going to be the super secret project coming up not long after that. I still can't tell you what it's all about just yet, but I'm looking forward to revealing all the details for you. Let's begin where the city itself began. We started with this super simple interchange over here, which is actually still handling traffic quite well. In fact, let's have a quick look at the traffic overview. As you can see, the average traffic flow is around about 93%, and it's been pretty consistently around 93% for the entire life of the city really. You can see there's a little bit of red around the interchange here, but the traffic does continue to flow, so it's not really causing us any issue. And if we zoom out, we can see it's a pretty similar story elsewhere. There's a few areas where you've got a little bit of the redness, but the traffic continues to flow in those areas anyway, so they're not causing any issues. This area, for example, a little bit red, but it's not causing any traffic backups at all, so it's fine. Same around this roundabout here. It's a little bit red, but the traffic continues to flow nicely and it's not causing us any issues. And then we've got a similar story over at this junction here. It gets a bit of heavy traffic, but the traffic continues to flow nicely, so we're all good. Now, this was our first district. It was built to get the city started, and we didn't have an awful lot unlocked at the time, and as a result it's probably my least favourite district in the city. There's nothing in the detailing that really stands out to me as being special, and I may come back at some point and rework it, add some of that D-Dubs awesome sauce to the area. But it does the job for now. This was also one of our first districts, our first industrial area, and I did come back and rework this one, and I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. The unique factory there looks really good. We got some of these warehousey type buildings and the container yard there, and then we got some of the industries warehouses and an office building. I really like the way this area turned out, and it was definitely worth the effort to come back and rework the area. I think it was around about that time that I put the prison up on the hill here. Did the fire watch towers as kind of guard posts, and I'm quite pleased with the way that this came out as well. And we did a lot of detailing of the landscape in this area as well. Over on this side you can see all of the rocks and things that we put in. Really pleased with the way that this came out, and this area feels really complete now. I don't think there's anything in this area that I would change. Except for these, which I will move. We will build a proper water facility somewhere in the not too distant future. And similarly, the hillside on this side looks really good as well. Also really happy with the way the ore industry area came out. I love the way that these cut into the hillside there and look like they're actually excavating the hillside. But this area doesn't quite feel complete. We've still got lots of detailing to do around this area. Not 100% sure yet what we're going to fill this area out with, but it definitely needs something to finish it off. Now this was another early district that we built, and I am actually really happy with the way that this one came out. I think this was our first custom plaza that we've put in, and over here was our first custom kiddies play area. These are details that I quite regularly add throughout the city, and I love the way that they look. And similarly, I quite often put rock details like this around the city, and again I think they look really good. They really add a little something to the area. We got these nice apartment blocks overlooking the water there, and we did a lot of nice detailing behind and between them. And this whole walk along this path that runs along behind them is just really pretty. I love all the details that I got in this area. And then if we go down this little road here, we get down to our beachfront. another area that I'm really happy with how it came out. We've got the amusements up over on this side, and I love this symmetrical detail that I put in the middle of this area. We filled the back out with some nightlife and some tourism commercial, which I think all worked really nicely. Got some nice rock detailing in over on this side, and then down on the beachfront itself we got lots of the nature reserve props in. It's the best we can do on console. We don't get to use the parasols and the deck chairs that you see in a lot of beach builds, but overall I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. Got the pier over there as well, and some beach volleyball courts. Yeah, I really was pleased with the way that the beach build came out. It looks really good. And let's not forget the elder care building that we put up on the cliff top here as well. I used fences to make the asset look bigger than it really is, and filled it out with lots of nice details, and yeah, really happy with the way that that came out as well. Over here, this was our second interchange build, the DCMI. Used lots of brightly coloured trees to make it stand out, and yeah, really happy with the way that this one came out as well. The DCMI is a really clever interchange design. It's very compact and very efficient, and yeah, it keeps the traffic flowing really nicely. That leads over to this district here, which is where we built our very first park, and we got quite a lot in considering how small it is, but it still looks pretty good in my opinion. I also got some nice details in. This is one of my favourite views in the city. We've got the plaza on one side and the kiddies playground on the other, and lots of nice trees and flowers and things. I like this view. But the area is not quite complete, and we do need to come back here and finish up with the detailing at some point, and I'm not quite sold on the commercial on the other side of the arterial road there either. That may yet change. And as we move over in this direction, we've got completely unfinished areas as well, which we do need to come back to. I think we're going to be putting Old Town District buildings in this area, and as I mentioned when I started building the Old Town over here, I was quite inspired by my visit to Oxford and the way that Oxford University is actually a collection of college buildings that are scattered throughout the city, and we're going to be doing that over in this area, adding university campus buildings throughout the Old Town District and making it into a university city area. We do have these buildings over here which you won't have seen. I've added these as temporary solutions to running short on power, water treatment and garbage processing capacity. We are planning to put an industrial area just over here, so we'll move these around and fit them into the industrial area once we get to building that. This is another of my favourite views in the city. I love the symmetrical design that I put in here, and I'm really pleased with the way the detailing came out here as well. This of course leads over to the Green Cities area that we put over here, and this is an area where I'm really proud of the detailing that I put in. This little path that runs along between the buildings here got lots and lots of little details in through this area, and I'd love to live here. I'd be going for walks every day just to enjoy the scenery. Yeah, really happy with the way that that came out. We put this nice semicircular design over here as well, which I'm quite pleased with. And then that transitions into the Old Town District over here. This park here, we made it bigger than it really is, and it doesn't look like it's bigger than it really is. So I'm really happy with that. It's cohesive enough that it looks like it's just all part of the same asset. Similarly with the school here, we've added a bit of detailing around that, but made it feel like it's part of the asset. And then next to the primary school, we've added a field with some tables and some kiddies play area, and we got lots of nice little details through this area. Another one of our custom plazas over here, more spots where we've added a little bit and made it look like it's part of the asset. And what is probably my very favourite area of detailing, which is the Cathedral Grounds over here. I'm so happy with the way that this came out. It's absolutely beautiful. Now this part of the Old Town District is very unfinished, and it's not going to be finished until after we've built the oil industry area. We did get some nice assets in. We got the Old Market Street there, and then we've got these three around the statue. and I think this area is going to look really, really nice once the detailing is done. I can't wait to get back over here and finish it all off. Now if we head back over in this direction, we built a nice suburban district over at this side of the map, and I think this is probably my favourite district. I got so many little details in here that I was really, really pleased with. We've got rocks, parks and plazas. We've got windy pathways with this nice stone detailing that I picked up from Joy Builds Cities. We've got lots that look bigger than they really are because of the way that we've detailed them. And we've got these little sheds in some of the gardens. Really happy with the way that came out. I don't know what made me think of trying it out, but yeah, it works really quite nicely as a tool shed. Some more of the custom kiddie play areas that I like to put in around the area. A little place to go and have some ice cream. Some nice little market stalls set back away from the roads, and some surrounding a nice little plaza as well. I managed to cram in lots and lots of details in this area, and I'm really, really pleased with the way that it came out. Over this way we've got a stub of a road that's eventually going to lead to a nature reserve on this island. I'm looking forward to doing that build. And over on this side we've got our Trumpet Interchange. Another build that I was really, really happy with. Came out really nicely. The curves are perfectly smooth, and it's got a really smooth gradient to it as well. Really, really happy with the way that this came out. We've also got our amusement park over here. Took me a couple of attempts to get the detailing right on this one. I started off by putting in way too many tall trees, which just obscured the view of the assets in here. But the second attempt was much more successful. We got a few little custom plazas in, as we do. Lots of nice manicured kind of flowers and bushes around the place. And this nice little fountain at the end here, which I really like. And then we put the haunted house in with lots of tall trees around it to give it that spooky, secluded feel. Yeah, I really like the way the amusement park came out. Very pleased with that build, yes. But we do have some unfinished areas. We've got to decide on what we want in this space here. We've got to get our forestry industry area leveled up, and we've got to level up our agricultural industry area. As you probably know by now, I like to make sure everything's unlocked and then figure out how I want it to be laid out for the finished product. So these are all temporary layouts at the moment, and they will change when we eventually level the areas up, but we do need to get the population up a bit more before that's going to happen. I'm 90% pleased with how the airport's come out. There are a couple of areas that I think need a little more work. This space just here, I feel like I need to put something else in here. I think it's probably going to be an aircraft hangar or two, but I'm not happy with the big empty green space there at the moment. And over at this end we've got a bit more empty green space that needs a little something extra in it. Other than that though, really happy with the way the airport looks. I like the way that it's laid out. It's functioning really nicely, and the details that I have got in there are looking good. Out in front of the airport though, that does feel finished, and I love the way that it looks. I like the detail in front of the airport and behind the hotel there. I think the car park there works really well. And this is another of my favourite views in the city, just coming off of the Turbine Interchange and having those planes there in front of the museum with the big rock to the side. I love this view. This is another area that I'm really pleased with. I wanted to do something a little bit different over here, and the observatory build fit the bill perfectly. I think a lot of people were surprised by my choice of use of the deep space radar there as a radio telescope, but I think it works really well. It fits the theme, and I like the decorating on the hillside there as well. Yeah, really pleased with the way that this one came out. Now we can't forget the Turbine Interchange. This is probably one of the most popular builds that I've done, and as I'm sure you know, building this on console is no easy task. Really, really happy with the way that it came out. Of course I had to put in some brightly coloured trees to really make it a centrepiece and draw attention to it. But yeah, I love this interchange. I could sit and watch it for hours, I really could. And that brings us to our most recent build, our low income area. I wanted it to feel very concrete and lots of mid-rises, a little bit shabby looking, and I think we managed to achieve that. It was quite tricky to figure out how to detail this without detracting from the low income feel that I wanted, but I think I did a reasonably good job of it. We did get something a bit more posh looking around the metro station here, but I wanted to draw attention to this and give it that sense of importance. But a lot of the detailing has just been trees and more subtle details. There is a couple of kiddies playgrounds, but places like this around the schools, we've kept it quite simple with just some trees and tried to make them stand out and give them a sense of importance without being overly elaborate. I'm really happy with the crematorium build. I wanted to create a nice peaceful space in the middle of the hustle and bustle around here, and I think that worked out really nicely. Really pleased with that one. And again, behind the high rises here, we've kept the detailing quite simple with paths and trees so that it doesn't detract from the low income feel of the area, but it does give it that extra layer of awesome sauce that we were looking for. So that is the city so far. I started out with no real clear idea of what I wanted, and it was all about starting a channel rather than starting a city. But over the past 20 weeks, I've really grown fond of this city. I've put a lot of love into her, and yeah, I think I'm more fond of this city than any city I've built before. There is a lot still to come though. As I've mentioned over the past couple of episodes, we're going to put an oil industry over in this area here, and we've got oil in the water over here as well, so we can use some offshore oil rigs. I think I want to put a nice cargo docks in along here somewhere as well, and we can fill out the area with maybe some unique factories and some storage buildings and really create a good industrial feel around here. We are going to need to provide good highway access to the area, and that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. We're going to be pretty tight on space over here, and we're probably going to need to move the highway over a little bit, but I'm confident that we can come up with something that works and looks great too. Around this area, we're going to use some of the smaller office buildings and create a nice transition between the industrial area and the low-income housing district that we've got just over there. Now on this side of the arterial, I'm going to put in, I think, commercial around this area here, and then more of the low-income housing over on this side. We are going to hold off a bit before we put the commercial in though. We've got the agricultural and forestry industries that still need to level up, and I don't want to create too many more jobs until we've got those vacancies filled. Now my vision for this area isn't quite clear yet, but I do know that we want to make it a nice area for tourists to visit, so that's going to mean a few unique buildings, I think, maybe some hotels. We'll get some housing and maybe some commercial in here, and we'll improve the quality as we head off in this direction as well, and probably make the buildings taller as well. As we move in this direction, we're going to be moving away from the highway, so we're going to have to give careful consideration to where our transit lines are going to go. That good connectivity is going to be especially important where the easy access to the highway is going to be a bit more challenging. We're going to have several bridge connections from that side of the water there to this side, and we're going to have some good solid arterial roads going through here to try and make the traffic flow as good as possible. And over towards that end of this island, we're going to have our downtown area, so making sure we've got good transit, good walkability and good arterial roads is really going to be key to making sure we keep the traffic flowing in this area. Again, my vision for this area isn't entirely clear yet, but I think I might want to try and squeeze a zoo in around here somewhere, and maybe even a cruise ship docks as well. But we'll figure that out when we get to build in this area, and as we start to build, I think my vision will become much clearer, and I'll start getting much more of an idea of how I want the area to look. I have got a reasonably clear idea of what we're going to be doing in this side of the city though. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to be turning this into a university city district. We need to wait until the oil industry is fully leveled up first, so that we can get the uneducated workers that we need in there. But then we'll turn our attention back to this area, and I'm really looking forward to working on this. I think it's going to turn out really good. Down at the front here, we're going to be putting in a fishing industry, I think. We'll get a nice harbour, some warehouses, that sort of thing down here, and really turn it into a kind of coastal fishing town. I have an idea for this area, but I need to do a bit of playing around with it to see if I can make it work the way I want it to, and we might move on to that pretty soon. I'm probably going to fill out the space up here with some residential, because I need to work on pushing that population up so that we can fill out those industries vacancies and get the level ups that we're waiting for. So I think it's probably going to make sense to come back here and get some of that residential zoning in. I'm going to keep this in place and just build around it. I'm kind of imagining this as a disused rail engineering works, and I think it's a nice little feature that we don't really want to lose. We're going to be filling out some of this space here with an industrial park, and we'll be putting another industrial park over here, as I mentioned earlier. And then in this spot we want to pop in another interchange. It's going to be a little bit trickier because the rail line is there, but I think we can come up with a stack design that works well and looks awesome sauce. And over in this direction we're going to be joining this highway up to the one just over there in the distance, and of course that's going to mean another interchange. Now we do have a bit of space along the back here, and I'm not sure what that's going to look like yet, but we do need to come up with something to fill these areas out. And I'm always open to suggestions, so if you've got any ideas about what we can do to fill this space out, or if there's anything that you'd like to see somewhere else in the city, jump down in the comments, let me know. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to come back to this district and make some changes. It feels like it's lacking the awesome sauce that I've added to the rest of the city, and we need to do something about that, I think. I also mentioned earlier that we're going to be adding the nature reserve in this corner over here. I think that would fit very nicely in this area. And then we have these industries to sort out, and I'm quite impatient to get these done now. If we zoom out a little bit, a lot of the area above them just feels really complete, and then you've got this. And yeah, I just want this area to feel finished now. We've got to wait for the population to come up, fill those job vacancies and get the areas leveled up, and then we can rearrange them and make them look nice and get this area feeling like it's finished. I do have this space just over here which I've still got to decide on what I'm going to put in this area yet, but yeah, and then the shoreline, we'll figure something out for that as well. But yeah, this I'm getting impatient for. I need to get the population up, get these leveled up, and get this area feeling finished. So there we go. We've had a good look at the city so far, and we've talked a bit about the future plans for the city. Now the idea for doing a city recap, I got that from Overcharged Egg. I really enjoyed it when he did city recap every 10 episodes in Palaven, and yeah, I thought I'd try it myself. And I realised that this is the third time now that I've mentioned, at least the third time that I've mentioned Overcharged Egg in a video, and I think it's only fair that I make Egg the recommended creator for this week. So I've already gone ahead and named the area here the Overcharged Egg Observatory. I was watching Overcharged Egg long before I started creating content myself, and I learned an awful lot from watching his channel, so do go and check him out if you haven't seen him already, and as usual I will put the link in the description. I'm ready to sign off now, but I'll leave you with a couple of minutes of the cinematic camera, so enjoy the views and I will catch you in the next one.